Hello my friends, and welcome back to another Brotato Danger 5 random run, where we take a random character, random weapon, and try to beat Danger 5 with it. Hope you're all doing well. Let's see what the game has for me today. We've got the Diver. Alright, this is the character, one of the characters I'm absolutely most afraid of, because we're going to play the Diver strictly with random weapons. That means I'm going to sell the harpoon gun, so we will never be able to benefit from the quadruple damage that enemies take after they get hit by the harpoon gun. And we're just going to be relying solely on our critical hits in order to get a win. This is a very difficult challenge. I don't know if it's actually doable, but we're going to find out. Let's see what weapon we get, and we'll plan accordingly. We've got the scissors. I was really hoping for Thief Dagger or Knife or Shuriken. Scissors, I think, is going to be pretty bad, but we'll see if we can make it work regardless. The main problem with scissors is just that they've got really low base crit chance, and don't scale that well when you level them up, so our damage output's going to be really low. I actually don't know if we can kill this tree. The tree does benefit from the increased enemy health and can't be debuffed by our harpoon, so we took some extra effort to kill it there. Here I'm going to reroll. I am looking for harvesting, so we'll pick up some harvesting. We also want to get as much crit chance as possible. So the way that this is going to work is we deal plus 200% crit damage with precise weapon. So basically we double our crit damage, but enemies have 3.5 times as much health. So unless we're critically hitting, we're not doing anything. So we have to get our crit chance as high as possible, as early as possible, in order for these scissors to actually be able to clear enemies, especially because we happen to roll a pretty weak weapon. We do want to build as much melee damage as we can. It works well, of course, to scale our base damage, which then multiplies when we critically hit. And the one advantage that this character has, it's otherwise a very weak character, is that we gain regen from buying melee damage, so we don't have to invest in defensive stats. Really bad rolls so far. I'm going to pass on the duct tape as well. I'm really looking for powerful economy items early on. Gentle Alien, I think we actually have to pass on. And we did manage to find 3 scissors. I was definitely hoping to find more than just the 3 there, but we did at least manage to get 3. I've got 2 regeneration from... Actually, I don't know what I have the regeneration from. Oh, from the medical weapon tag, of course. I was like, we don't have any melee damage, and I didn't buy any. How'd I get regen? But I will, I think, lock the Weird Ghost. That's really efficient source of max HP, and we're going to be building regeneration anyways. You can see, every time we don't crit, we are basically not going to kill anything. So that's going to make it very slow for us to gain income, especially in the first several waves. Try to kill that tree. We did get it. And we really need to level up our scissors for the precise weapon tag as quickly as possible. I will take 5 more harvesting. I do think that we are going to need to get some harvesting. I'll take the lemonade. I'll buy a scissors. I wish I had 1 more material so I could re-roll for another scissors. But at least we've got our weapons up to 25% crit chance already, which means that our damage is still way behind where it would be on a normal character, but not, we are still able to kill some of these enemies anyways. So, now that we've gotten to 10 harvesting, I think I probably can't really afford to buy more economy. It's just melee damage and crit chance are the only stats that we can really afford to buy at this point. We do have a lot of lifesteal off the scissors as well, so between the regen from the melee damage and the lifesteal from the scissors, we should be able to sustain pretty well. Definitely need crit chance there, and then here I'm going to reroll, and I'll just take 8% damage. I do need just more damage as quickly as we can get it. The Weird Ghost and Lemonade, I will buy both of, and then I'm going to roll here looking for more scissors. I'm going to roll again. I don't think I want to lock Clockwork Wasp. We have to be very careful with what we actually buy. And, okay, did finally manage to get our 6th set of scissors, so that maxes out our crit chance. We now have 35% crit chance, so we should at least be doing some damage. Gotta kill these slashers, because I have the Weird Ghost, and they take a long time to kill, of course, because of the character that we're playing and what's happening to us. So I need to kill them before we take a bunch of hits. The lamprey is going to be really dangerous, of course. It has lots of HP. I'd love to get a lumberjack shirt if I can, because that would make killing trees so much more viable. I don't know if I'm going to be able to kill this. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be able to kill the curse alien. So we're just going to try to make at least some money this wave by killing as much stuff as we can. Going to take the harvesting here. Now I can definitely stop buying additional economy, and then we're going to focus on being able to actually kill stuff. Taking if I take this, I go back down to 19 harvesting, so I'm actually going to skip on the charcoal here because of that specific problem. Level our scissors, and we gain only 2% crit chance as we level them up. The crit multiplier that you get as you level them up also doesn't matter that much because we already have a really high crit multiplier, so going from 4 to 4.15 is not a significant increase. But we still have to get these at least to level 2. I just wish they gained more crit chance as they leveled up. They do gain faster attack speed, which does matter. Take the weird ghost here, and I'm going to roll, lock another scissors. We definitely don't want things like baby elephant, because the amount of damage that will do relative to the vastly increased enemy health is going to be massive. Or is going to be... not massive. The opposite of massive. Going to be extremely... pathetic. This wave, we might be able to kill the curse alien. Wow, our damage is low. It's still alive. Okay, we finally got it. I need to basically just wade into these groups of enemies and rely on our healing to keep us alive, because if I just let any enemies survive that I could have killed, we're giving up such a huge percentage of our possible income. You see we're already falling really far behind in terms of income. You take more melee damage. I could also take harvesting. I'm just going to take 2 melee damage. I'll take the coupon. I'll take the scissors. I will still buy tree. Hopefully we find lumberjack shirt, because that makes the tree much better. We will definitely buy another scissors. Jerky, sure. I think that the way we win this run is just by healing through it. So the jerky and the cursed garden are going to be pretty valuable. If I can just find some armor and maybe some dodge, then we can just kind of tank through everything and just sort of hope to get there that way. Even if we don't kill most of the enemies in the late game, that will be fine. So just kind of relying on our lifesteal. I need a little bit more attack speed as well to trigger our scissors lifesteal more frequently. Also, armor and max HP would be very important for us to have as well, because right now, every time we take a hit, even though our healing is really good, the hits that we're taking are such a huge percent of our health that the healing may not have time to save us before we die if I don't find just some more raw defensive stats. Here, I have to take more crit chance or we can't kill anything. I definitely don't need to buy lifesteal. Let's reroll. We'll just take the max HP. I already talked about needing that. Claw Tree, that's excellent. Even though I need max HP, this is 2 stats that we need very badly. I think that the garden will help keep us alive better than the jerky in the very short term, so we'll take that. And then 6 melee damage, that's a bunch of regen, and more base damage for our weapons, so of course we'll lock that as well. As I'm playing this run, I'm actually coming around on the scissors a bit, just because they give us so much healing for free that they're helping to keep us alive, even though they're not killing stuff as effectively. I think that Shuriken would be better. I think that Thief Dagger would be better because it would help us actually make money. But the scissors have been not horrible. Gotta pick up this consumable if I can. The Walrus, even though it didn't get cursed, is just really dangerous. And the various charging enemies are where we're going to really run into trouble when we get to the later game. Trying to pick up as many of these materials that are on the ground as I can, but without dying. Book, I'm going to buy, I guess, because it's a... No, I'm just going to recycle it. Even though this is a unique level 1 item for Fairy, regen we should have plenty of, just from buying melee damage, so I don't think I want to invest in an item that doesn't do anything. Here, I'm going to buy... I can't buy both of these. I actually can't buy I could buy both of these, Mastery and Jerky, but not the Scissors if I do that, or I could buy Scissors and neither of those other 2 items. I think we're going to lock the Scissors, and we'll buy both of these items, and then reroll and lock another Scissors. Black Belt I'm going to take as well. We need all the XP gain that we can get, because that's going to be a big source of our stats. Losing luck, of course, is painful, especially because I just bought the Jerky, but with the Garden, we should have a lot of fruits regardless, and melee damage is very important also. Knockback also probably not terrible for this character because we just need to tank through everything, so preventing us from taking hits. If we can get a decent amount of knockback, it could be a real strategy for us. I'm going to try to leave at least some of these fruits on the ground so that if we get in trouble, we can run over to them. But since we have Jerky, picking them up even when we're at full health is not a big deal. Because then we'll take a hit, but we'll still have the regen from the Jerky to keep us alive. As long as I get more armor and maybe some dodge, I feel like we should be actually in okay shape. As long as I don't just die to these enemies right away. Okay. Had to dodge that anglerfish. Actually came super close to dying there. I was saying we were in good shape and then almost immediately got in a lot of trouble. Take the boxing glove. I really want attack speed, but we have to take armor, I think, when we see it. I'm gonna take the black belt, and then I'm shy of buying both of these, so we will be able to just buy the level 3 scissors. I'll do one reroll to see if we can find anything else good. Weird Ghost, again, I do want more max HP, and we've got 11 regeneration, so that should be fine. Just trying to buy the most efficient possible defensive stats for this character. It's going to be so time-consuming to kill these spawners, and the eggs also have so much health, but I should be able to just run into the enemy. Let's pick up a couple of these consumables to keep myself healthy while we try to finish off the spawner. Oh, I let one of the slashers spawn. That's very bad. I really need to avoid too many of these guys being on the field at once because I'm trying to break the eggs. Because they just are going to put us under so much pressure. They do so much damage, even despite all of our armor, that it's very difficult to survive through them. You can see how much value we're getting out of the Jerky, though. Just keeping us sustained, even when I'm not actually hitting enemies, is incredibly important. So the Jerky is being very, very useful here. I can run through groups of enemies like that because we have all this lifesteal, and because when you take a hit, you get some invulnerability frames afterwards. So you can walk through large groups of enemies like that. It's basically the same as walking into 1 or 2 enemies to walk into like 10 enemies stacked on top of each other because you have the invulnerability frames to keep you alive. I'm going to take more melee damage. It's also worth regeneration. And then I could take 1 armor. I'm probably just going to do that. Rip and Tear, again, the percentage of enemy health that this does is going to be so low because it can't crit, and we desperately do not want to reduce our crit chance, that I'm not going to take that. I will buy defective steroids, although I badly need attack speed. These are just stats that we need even more. We'll take Cyclops Worm, we'll roll. Peaceful Bee does cost me melee damage, but dodge is pretty relevant for us, so I think we are just going to buy all of these economy items and then roll one more time. Clockwork Wasp, I am going to buy. Move speed I want, and the structure attack speed is really good with our Garden. Medical turret's another way to stay alive, but healing is not really the issue that we're having. We just need raw defensive stats, armor, dodge, and max HP. Pick up that 1 fruit right away, and then we heal back to full from the Weird Ghost almost immediately, thanks to our lifesteal and regeneration. I've actually gotten our damage to not a terrible value. Probably getting to like 20% attack speed is the most important thing for us. I need armor, I need dodge, I need max HP, but the attack speed is also a healing stat because scissors have base lifesteal, so we get a lot of value out of that. Gonna just use the invuln frames again to run through that big group of enemies and try to get some kills there. And again, we've got Jerky, so those enemy groups are fairly likely to drop a consumable. and then that consumable can help us heal back up really quick after we take that damage. So now we are at the point where we can at least tank a lot of enemies, and we're actually making money at not a terrible rate. I'm very happy to buy this tentacle. More healing, of course, but mostly just more crit chance. And then this is really interesting. I really want max HP. I also really want luck. Because we have jerky, we have like +4 consumable heal right now, so the consumables are a big chunk of our healing, but I think I just have to take the max HP. Reroll and see if we can get a level 2 upgrade, and we did. That gets us to 55 max HP, which I'm much happier about. Pickup radius is good for this character because we have consumables that we rely on, but I think I'm going to roll past all this. I feel like we can do better. Claw Tree I will take. Gambling Token, I do want to build Dodge, and I want to build Dodge pretty soon. Losing armor, very bad, but I think we will buy the dodge there, and then, okay, this is awesome. This whole shop is excellent for us. I think I'm going to just buy the wheat and then lock all of this other stuff, because the wheat, of course, is an economy item, and I think we should have enough damage to clear the Horde Wave without buying, and defensive stats, without buying those combat items, so we'll just buy the economy item first. Maybe I should have focused on the damage, actually, because our damage is still very low, but honestly, this character is just never going to have enough damage, no matter how much damage I buy. So, unless I find some absurd, like, cursed item, like a cursed mammoth for +40 melee damage or something, we're just always going to be suffering in terms of our damage output. I do have the healing, thanks to the jerky and our lifesteal and all the regen that we've bought. We do have the healing to survive running into these groups of enemies. So although we're not killing stuff that fast, we're also not dying that fast, though the cursed goblin shark makes things a lot more dangerous. High damage individual hits are what will really start putting us in trouble, so that's what I need to focus on. I'm going to take the eye patch here just because crit chance is so good for us. And then, yep, more armor. Definitely what we need. We will take all of these items. Definitely ignoring the snail. We don't need that at all. Corrupted shard. I can benefit from the corrupted shard. More curse could potentially get me like a curse scissor. I'm going to roll here. I still don't think we need the medical turret. Getting to positive luck, I could also just take the fertilizer. I think I will just take fertilizer. It does cost me melee damage and also half a regen, but the harvesting is keeping my economy stable, so I think we still have to buy it. 113 for 3 crit chance, or I guess 3.75 crit chance, because the diver increases crit modifications. Normally would be horrible for pretty much every character, but this character doesn't do damage without critically hitting, so you have to buy it whenever you see it. Taking a few too many hits there. We did manage to get a decent amount of dodge last wave, so hopefully we can get a little bit more. And if we get to dodge cap, then we will be a lot more survivable. Dodge works really well with all your defensive stats multiply the effectiveness of one another. Dodge, max HP, armor, and healing all make each other better because they just increase your effective max HP by multiplying with one another. And so having all of these stats working really well together means that we will be able to tank through most things. I'm very concerned about the elite at this point, but I think we should still be okay. I'm going to not break that blobfish. Trying to kill the lampreys, I think, is just a fool's errand on this character. And so now I am sort of put to the test. I really need attack speed and I really need armor. I think this character wants the attack speed more than the armor right now because currently we have such low attack speed, and obviously it's really good for our 45% lifesteal. Take the propeller hat. I guess we're just buying this whole shop. Roll here. Black flag. So this increases enemy health and damage. The increased damage is very dangerous. The increased enemy health doesn't matter at all because that just takes them from 250 to 260. But this is a way that we could actually get money. On the other hand, I think that this is a build that wants to pass Black Flag. The reason for that is that which you will very, very rarely hear me say because this item is incredible and super, super powerful. But all we're trying to do is just build defensive stats. And our economy at this point is kind of secondary to just building raw stats to survive incoming damage. I will take the small fish, but we're going to roll past the black flag. Scarf is pretty dangerous next wave, but still good, and improved tools will work really well with our Cursed Garden. So, and we need attack speed, so I'll buy that. And go to wave 13 here. So normally you will never see me pass black flag because it's so much economy. But all we have to do, we're very close on this character to reaching our win condition, which is just like 20 armor, 100 HP, and 60 dodge. So all we have to do at this point is get to that. Anything that we're buying that doesn't further that goal, I think is actually a mistake. Because our goal is just to tank through. Now, I'm going to buy stuff like move speed and regen to make it a little easier not to take hits, but we are always going to have a ton of trouble avoiding tanking hits because we're a short-ranged, super low damage setup. Enemies have a ton of additional health and everything, so it's going to be really hard to avoid taking hits. Also, this cursed mini-boss is going to cost me a lot of money because I have to run away from all of its attacks. It just hits so hard, even through all our defensive stats. To take more dodge, that's excellent. And then here, I'm going to buy some crit chance. I do want the armor as well, but the crit chance I think is going to be even more important, or the attack speed as well. The crit chance I think is going to be even more important. If we can get to 100% crit chance, we can suddenly start doing some damage. And to take the Scarf here and the Shackles, this caps my move speed, but capping it at 13 I think is fine, and it's 8 regen. The engineering is not helpful, but the range actually is helpful to make sure that we're constantly life-stealing. Not something that I value that highly, but even when we can get regen from melee damage, the Shackles I think is still going to be pretty efficient for regeneration. Spicy Sauce, I probably should just buy, even though this damage is negligible. Again, we just need all the max HP and defensive stats that we can get, so even when it comes at a premium, we're still just buying it for 3 max health. This is a very dangerous wave because enemies are moving faster, because I bought the Scarf, so I just need to be aware of that and not try to move in such a way as to rely on enemies moving slowly. Also, killing those buffing aliens as quickly as I can is very important because otherwise the faster enemies also get even faster and do more damage when they get buffed. So that like that buffed walrus is putting a ton of pressure on my movement here because of how much damage it does. I'm gonna run and kill that buffing alien. At least unlike the buffing aliens on Crash Zone, the ones on Abyssal Terrors only don't buff like a whole group of enemies all at once. So, while there's some buffed enemies on the field, on Crash Zone, if we were suffering this much in terms of killing the buffing enemies, the entire screen would be buffed and we'd just be in real trouble. Take max HP, because we definitely want that. We'll buy the improved tools and the spicy sauce, and then we're going to reroll here. At this point, I think we're not buying fertilizer. I'm just going to roll and see if there's anything else that I can try to buy to keep me alive against the elite. We missed, and I'm not sure about power generator. It's only like 8% damage. I think we're just rolling past both of these things, and we'll take the cake. We'll lock the scissors. Both of these can keep us alive again. 5% attack speed for 153 is not a great trade, and we will never, ever have the crystal bonus, because we're going to be taking damage constantly, so we're going to pass on crystal, but keep the scissors locked. Had to step away from the run for a minute, so I'm just going to take a second to refamiliarize myself with the build just before we go into this elite wave. Normally I feel like you could just jump back in, but because this run is so difficult, I just want to make sure that I remember exactly what we were doing. So we've got 30% dodge and 8 armor, and we can tank pretty well, but if I start taking a lot of hits from the elite, then we will definitely still die. So I need to be very careful about my positioning around the elite, but the smaller enemies we can take hits from. So our plan is basically just going to be to avoid trying to fight the elite. We'll never kill it. It just has massive health. and then run away and use the other enemies on the field to lifesteal off of. So we're just ignoring the elite. This is not a great elite to roll because it puts so many projectiles on the field. Once it hits its second stage and starts firing the groupings of 3, or the triple groupings of projectiles, it gets a lot easier, actually, because those are just sort of coming directly at us, so we can just move in a straight line to dodge them a little more easily. So once it moves to this stage, there's just less stuff on the field, less clutter for us to have to dodge around. So the first half of this wave was a little more difficult than a lot of other elites, but now that we're on the second half, we should be in very good shape. I'm less concerned about the second stage for this elite than I would be for a lot of them. I didn't even want to check my damage against it, because if I take like a couple early hits, then I could end up in a lot of trouble. Although we can heal back up really quickly, the most important thing was just making it through that safely. Losing 1 consumable heal, going down to 6, but we get 3 max HP on the alien worm. I think that's still not going to be worth it. This character is relying a lot on our consumable healing, so I just don't want to decrease that. We already have 31 regen. I'm going to take the 9 dodge here. That's excellent. I don't need to build more lifesteal, but we will keep upgrading our scissors, because that does build lifesteal and crit chance and everything, and also makes us do more damage. Combine here by a scissors. I'm going to take the cute monkey as well. Any healing we can get. And one thing about lifesteal is you can get a maximum of 10 lifesteal per second. So that's obviously a ton of healing, but you can heal way more than 10 per second if you also have regen, if you also have other sources of healing like the cute monkey. So as long as we have a ton of other healing sources, we should be in very good shape, even despite the healing cap on lifesteal. Definitely taking little muscly dude. This is just all stats that we want. Boxing glove. We have kind of a knockback sub-theme on this character, so I could actually take this. It's worth half a regeneration, because we're the diver, and knockback is not horrible for us, but I think I'm just going to pass on it. I'm going to roll and see if there's something better we can get. Nothing here, so we'll go to the next wave. Sometimes on a scissors build, you can buy circular saw and upgrade your scissors to circular saws. But obviously not on this one, because we need a precise weapon in order to do damage, and it's a random weapon run, so we're not allowed to anyways. But scissors into circular saw is usually the only time where that weapon actually comes up. I think I killed... I need to clear these towers as much as possible. I don't really care if the Drooly men get buffed, but I don't want any mini-bosses to spawn, so I'm trying to kill these towers. Wow, this thing is taking so much damage before it dies. Okay, we got that. Just because the whole way we lose this run, our loss condition for this run, is just getting overwhelmed by high damage enemies, and obviously the mini bosses, their projectiles do a ton of damage. I don't need the Terrified Onion, we're speed capped anyways, and then here, you take 6 melee damage, it's also worth 3 regen and will help us kill stuff a little better. But this is our level 20 upgrade, so I'm going to roll for armor if I can find it, or dodge. Yeah, getting to 52 dodge, that gets us very close to dodge cap, so pretty happy with that. We'll take the blindfold, of course, that gets our crit chance even higher. Anything else that I want here? I don't think we want the compass. Lowering crit chance is too dangerous. I could buy Sad Tomato. We start at low regen, and we have enough regen that will heal back up before we take a hit, so I think Sad Tomato will just add a ton more survivability to our character. Then we'll lock another scissors and go to wave 17. We're actually critting for enough damage that we're hurting these enemies, like we're one-shotting them, even despite not having the ranged damage debuff. Oh, by the way, there is one way that we could use the ranged damage debuff on this character. If we had happened to roll into Baby with a Beard, then we would be able to make use of the ranged damage debuff for the diver. Now, I think what we're going to do, even if we roll into Baby with a Beard, is... I guess at this point it won't matter. I was going to say maybe I would just pass it anyways, just to see if it can be done without rolling into specifically the best possible item. But maybe I'll buy it if we're going into the boss wave. But I think this run will be more fun if we just pass the baby with a beard and see if we can do it without that crutch. If we happen to roll into one. Unless I've just passed one without noticing, in which case, oops. I'm going to recycle Pocket Factory. Obviously, the turrets will never do any meaningful damage. We are at 57 dodge, so this 12 dodge is a lot less enticing. But I still just want to get to dodge cap, so I'm going to take that. Even though it comes at the cost of some other valuable stats, getting over dodge cap, the last few points of dodge are so much more valuable, and getting over dodge cap also lets us buy items that reduce our dodge without causing problems. I don't mind capping my max HP at 83, I don't think, and this is 4 regen and 8 damage, so I think we will just buy the handcuffs here. And then I'm going to roll to see if there's anything else I can buy before going into the elite fight. We'll take the helmet. Fishhook will not have time to pay off, so we are just going to go fight the elite. And by fight the elite, I mean run away from the elite again. 83 is definitely a little bit low in terms of our max HP, but having more damage so we can kill these towers before the mini-bosses spawn, that's what I'm really worried about. Also, this elite is probably a very difficult one for us to fight. It puts a lot of danger zones on the ground. So we are in the highway to the danger zone when we're fighting this elite. And having to dodge those constantly puts a ton of pressure on our movement, especially on wave 18, where we also have the buffed stargazers and the towers to contend with. But I'm still happy to let the stargazers get buffed because our main loss condition is just having too many projectiles on the field. As long as we're fighting an enemy, like as long as we're hitting stuff with the lifesteal from our scissors, we'll survive. It's just if we get hit by a lot of projectiles that we can get in a lot of trouble. Take the claw tree here and I'll roll. Bait, I don't really want. Small fish, I don't think I want either. I'm going to pass on all of these, I think. Baby squid doesn't do anything. I'll take the plant, just a little more regen, and I'll roll again. I'll buy a ritual, and we'll take another plant. I would rather buy melee damage than these plants, but plant is efficient enough that just getting to 50 regen gives us a lot more safety when we're going to be fighting the bosses. And again, we just need to be able to tank through those. Ritual we're buying because it's cursed and just going to be really strong for us. The lifesteal from the ritual is not irrelevant, even though we have 50% lifesteal. So we're usually going to be getting our max 10 HP a second from lifesteal just by running into all these enemies. The lifesteal from the ritual can help if we are having to run away from the bosses, which we probably will next round. It took a lot of hits there, but luckily we healed back up. You can see how fast we die if we start taking damage. Because enemies just do so much damage on Abyssal Terrors that when you start taking hits, you get in a lot of trouble. I genuinely was not sure if this run was doable. Now I think it is doable. I'm still not sure we're going to do it because we're going to be going into the boss fight next, and they do a ton of damage, and we have to survive 90 seconds. I'm going to take 10% attack speed to give ourselves more lifesteal opportunities. Take the tentacle just so we do a little more crit damage. Ritual and muscly dude, sure. I don't need the little frog. Let's roll. I wouldn't mind upgrading the scissors, but I think we'll just take the spicy sauce. Oh, wait, no, I was HP capped. Obviously, that was a mistake. I should have just taken the lost duck. Because luck is really good for the amount of consumable heal we have, and we actually have very low luck. So that was definitely a mistake to pick up the spicy sauce, which has no value at all for this character, instead of any item that could improve our character. I also might have been able to sell our level 1 scissors for a level 3. I didn't do the math on that, but that could have been a good option as well. All right, drinking some water, and then we're going to go fight the bosses. So we're just going to run from them at first. I'm going to pick up that one consumable. How's my damage against them? Because maybe I could kill one of them. Nah, I just don't think it's worth trying. Our crit multiplier is very high, but of course without the range damage debuff, we just can't can't reliably damage them. Because we have jerky, if we step on a consumable, it mostly doesn't matter because we'll take a hit while it's still regenerating us. That's one of the reasons I value jerky so highly, is that even when you're at full health, if you step on a fruit, you still get value from it. And a lot of times, you want to not step on fruits when you're full health so that you have the emergency healing. But when you have jerky, then you just don't have to worry about it anymore. So it makes your movement a lot easier. I'm gonna run over here, pick up that consumable so I can heal. I'm gonna try to kill these towers. Again, having mini bosses on the field is probably our main loss condition, is too many of those, especially if we get a cursed one. And then we're just gonna try to tank through. 20 seconds remaining. With 60% dodge, also, some of these attacks should be missing us, and we'll just be tanking through them. But you usually don't want to rely on dodge, so because, of course, you might just get unlucky. You can see at the end of this wave, things are getting pretty hairy. So I'm just going to kind of skirt the edge here, try to avoid taking those last few hits. And we made it through with the diver. All right, well, that was awesome. I am actually, that's so exciting that we managed to beat that. The diver with, we ended up with triple weird ghost. The 2 coupons gave us 400 materials. We are... And getting a decent crit chance on all our weapons let us actually make decent money. Also, I invested early in harvesting, which I wasn't thinking I would invest early in a lot of harvesting. I thought we needed to just build damage in order to kill stuff. But the early harvesting worked out a lot because it kept our economy rolling, even though we needed to, even though we weren't killing enemies. This jerky was an all-star. Obviously, I can't say enough good things about this item normally, but this is, if you needed a run to convince you why jerky is good, this run should do it because it healed us for like thousands of hit points this run effectively and made us not die in circumstances where we were definitely going to die otherwise. Double fertilizer was good. We made 408 healing off the tentacles. That's such a huge amount of tentacle healing. You never see this much, which is awesome. I liked investing in the gambling tokens relatively early, buying those, because it actually let us get to dodge cap, which was really important. I would have liked more armor as well. That would have been very valuable, but 9 was fine. I really wanted like 10 or 15, but 83 health, 9 armor, and 60 dodge was enough defensive stats combined with our incredible healing that we were able to survive. The second spicy sauce was bad. The first one was pretty good. 51 healing off the cute monkey, too. That's a lot of healing as well. I feel like, other than the second spicy sauce, I'm pretty happy with all of the purchase decisions we made, and we were able to win an incredibly difficult run. So, yeah, give this one a try. It was really fun. Diver, I think people really dislike Diver. A lot of people really dislike the character. But this was a really fun run. And of course, if you mix in a couple submachine guns with your scissors, then you can probably just tank through and kill stuff as well. Or just keep the harpoon, because that will work very well also. All right, my friends, I hope that you've enjoyed this run. I'm so stoked to win this one and the fisherman one back to back. And of course, if you have, then feel free to leave a comment and hit that like button. Helps me out with the algorithm. You can also enable channel notifications to get notified when I post a new video. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Brotato and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, friends. I'll catch you next time.